It's the spring of 2024, so if you're looking into other brokerages and thinking about making a move, this is going to be a helpful video for you. I'll give you a quick overview of Real Broker as of May 2024. We'll go over the costs, the stock program, revenue share, training, technology, and some of the other benefits that are provided by Real Broker. So just for a little bit of background, Real is publicly traded on the NASDAQ. It just crossed 15,000 agents, which marks it as the fastest growing publicly traded brokerage in the country. I'm actually one of those agents that jumped from EXP to Real, not because I was unhappy at EXP. In fact, I was loving it, but I was blown away by what I learned about Real, but that's for another video. Real's in all 50 states and in most of Canada, probably in all of Canada soon. Now, a lot of folks get worried about a fast growing company because oftentimes that means they're spending every last penny to grow and sometimes more than the last penny by taking on a bunch of debt. And because of the financial stress in scaling fast, it can implode fast too. That being said, Real is an EBITDA profitable company, which I believe is thanks to building it from the beginning with the intention to scale on a lean budget, relying primarily on technology to make that happen. That being said, Real has won multiple awards, including the Inman's Innovator of the Year award. So the investment in technology is felt not just inside the company, but by outsiders as well. So now let's go over the costs to work at Real Broker. Real has an 85-15 split until you cap at $12,000. What that means is you'll pay 15% of your commission to Real until you've paid them $12,000. In my market, that's about 8 transactions. Now, after you cap, you'll begin to pay a $285 fee per transaction, but you'll be able to keep 100% of your commission. Now, if you sell, let's say 29 homes and you hit Elite Agent, then that $285 transaction fee drops down to only $129 per transaction, along with a $30 insurance fee. And the last recurring cost is a $750 annual fee that gets taken out of your first 3 transactions. Now, probably the most relieving thing for agents that have taken a hit over the last couple of years is that 1, a 12K cap is very doable, and 2, there's no monthly fees. So you don't have to pay Real unless you are actually making money. So just to make all this really concrete, let's say you close 10 transactions a year at an average price point of $400,000, making 2.5% commission. You'll have paid a total of $13,620 to make $86,308 in income. But let's say you do 20 transactions. In that case, you'd pay $16,470 to make $183,530 in income. But let's say you're on the top of your game and you do 30 transactions. Then according to these numbers, you'll hit Elite Agent. So in this scenario, your transaction fee will be reduced to $129. And if you teach other agents or give back to your community, you'll be awarded $24,000 of stock in Real. So that's including both a production award and a cultural award. So in selling 30 homes, you'll actually be paid about $4,000 by Real to make $300,000 at Real. Not a bad deal. I'll go into more detail about how to hit Elite Agent, but I think the takeaway from this is that Real is very reasonable for anyone doing 10 to 20 deals a year, but for those who are doing 30 plus deals, it's pretty hard to beat. So next up, let's talk about stocks. There's 4 ways to get stock in Real. Number 1 is a stock purchase program, which is when you set aside 5% of your commission towards buying stock, and they'll give you an extra 10% of free stock. And then after you cap, you can put 20% of your commission towards buying stock, and they'll match it with an additional 20% of free stock. Not a bad incentive to encourage you to save for your retirement. Now, the second way to earn free stock is just by capping. When you cap, they'll give you 150 shares of stock, and as I've mentioned before, you can easily cap with just 8 transactions. The third way is by attracting other agents. When you attract an agent to Real, they put you down as their sponsor. When they close their first transaction, you get 75 shares of stock. Now, we're in a growing phase, so as our numbers rise, we'll gradually be awarded less stock for educating other agents about Real, but it's great while we got it. Now, the fourth way to earn free stock is by hitting Elite Agent. If you do, you can earn between $16,000 and $24,000 in stock, depending on whether you get just a production award or both the production and the cultural award. There's 2 ways to get the production award. One is by having paid $6,000 in transaction fees after capping, which basically means doing about 21 transactions a year. You do that and boom, you get your $16,000 in stock. Now, if you're a team leader and you charge your team members, say 25% splits on their commissions, then 25% of their transaction fees will count towards your $6,000 requirement. If you charge, let's say, a 50% split, then 50% of their transaction fee goes towards your requirement. So that's a nice help for team leaders. Now, the second way for you to qualify for the $16,000 production award is by earning at least $500,000 in commissions with at least 10 transactions. This means your sales volume is going to be considered more as opposed to your transaction volume. And it's been primarily to help folks who sell at a higher price point. So those are the 2 ways to earn the $16,000 in stock from the production award. Now, after you get the production award, you'll qualify for the cultural award. This will give you $8,000 $100 in free stock. So to qualify, you can teach monthly topics in the Real Academy, give back to the Real Agent community, or by giving back to your local community. So you've got some options in how to give back. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the stock awards have a 3-year vesting period. So you need to be with Real for at least 3 years before you can pull out your stock. Prior to being a real estate agent, I actually had a media and marketing business for 7 years, and I never wanted to work for another company because I wanted to own what I was building. In addition to owning my own real estate business, I'm really glad to be able to earn some sweat equity in the brokerage that I represent. And putting in place major incentives to encourage top agents to share their knowledge with everyone in the company is, in my opinion, extremely beneficial. We all know tons of agents who pour thousands of dollars into coaching and training every single year. It's a major savings for those who are currently spending money on training, and is a huge advantage to everyone who isn't spending money on training but would definitely take advantage of it if it were included in their cost at being at their brokerage like it is here. For instance, whenever agents reach out to me about their social media strategy or implementation, I'm always glad to help regardless of whether I sponsor them into the company. And Real doesn't pay me to do that, but I do it because I own part of the company. If you do well, my stocks do well too. Now, whether you're at one or not, the reality is that cloud-based brokerages are becoming the dominant players in the industry. I've spoken to a lot of older agents who are easing into retirement. They will definitely stay with the old guard because they have no reason to switch. But for any agent who's on the come up, who needs a real value proposition, we will all be switching to one of the cloud-based brokerages one way or the other. This is not financial advice, but in 5 to 10 years from now, I think you'll be really glad you chose to own some stock in a cloud-based brokerage as the boomer wave crashes over and we see that half the Gen Z and all the millennials and Zers are in cloud-based brokerages. So now let's go over the Real Broker revenue share. Now, the way to think about revenue share is that it's simply Real's marketing budget. They're not spending money on billboards, office space, mid-level managers, or advertising because real estate agents are relationship people. Instead of spending their money on mass advertising, they give it back to the agents who ultimately are the best brand ambassadors as we speak well or poorly about the company one at a time to the people that we know. So to be perfectly frank, here's how I got involved in revenue share. Early on as an agent, I started doing well on Instagram, and sure enough, some agents reached out to me and one guy asked me to show him how to make a video. So while we're doing that, we also talked about each other's brokerages, nothing serious, but it turned out that a couple days later, he told me that he actually switched to my brokerage, and I was like, oh, I wasn't trying to get him to switch, and I didn't promise him I was going to put his business on my shoulders if it did either. I just talked to him about the legitimate pros and cons, and he decided that it sounded better than where he was currently at. For taking the time to share what was going on, I now got a couple $1,000s a year from the company. At this point, it's not enough to stop selling real estate, but it pays my cell phone bill, and as more agents join Real because of my videos, eventually I'll have a great safety net during down months, or maybe later on, I might be able to retire because I've built up a sizable income stream. Now, whenever these revenue share questions come up, people always kind of focus on the person making the money, but what they oftentimes don't think about is the person actually receiving the value. And in this case, it's the agent who is now introduced to the company by someone who wants to see them succeed. They only get money if the person who comes in actually sells real estate. So this new agent now has a trusted resource to help them navigate Real and ensure they get the tools and the support that they signed up for. So as I see it, this model is beneficial for everybody that's involved. It's good for the sponsor because now I have an additional stream of income for bad months or retirement. It's good for Real because it's the most cost-effective way to grow. And it's good for you because now you have a trusted resource who can help you navigate the company and ensure you're getting the tools and the support that you signed up for. One unique thing about Real's revenue share too is that you can list 2 agents as your sponsor. It's called co-sponsorship. Now, when you do this, that revenue share gets split. Each agent will receive 45% and 45%, and then Real Broker keeps 10% to compensate for the added complexity. If you have 2 people who have influenced your decision, you don't have to hurt anybody's feelings, and you can put both down. And in addition, you've got 2 trusted sources as well. So whenever I'm talking to an agent that's especially new in the industry, I always find them a local agent in their market to co-sponsor them because the reason is I want somebody local in their market who knows the local laws and contracts. These are things that I'm probably not going to know, but someone who's local is definitely going to. So Real Broker actually pays out on 5 tiers of revenue share. For any agent that names you as their sponsor, Real Broker will give you 5% of their commission until the cap at the company. With the $12,000 cap, they'll give you up to $4,000 a year for every capping agent that names you as their sponsor into the company, half of that if they're on a team. And the reason for that is that team members only pay $6,000 $2,000 as a cap as opposed to 12. So you get $2,000 as opposed to $4,000 for the folks that are on teams. So if somebody that you directly sponsor brings an agent into the company as well, then you'll get 4% of every commission until they cap, which is a maximum of $3,200 a year. Now, if they bring someone in, you'll get 3% of every commission that agent earns, up to $2,400 per year. And if they bring somebody in, then you'll get 2% of their commission, up to $1,600 a year. And finally, if they bring somebody in, you'll get 1% of their commission, up to $800 a year. So it's 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, 1%, and that's it. Now, when you join Real, you can automatically bring agents into your first tier, but you have to unlock tiers 2 through 5. So to unlock your tier 2 benefits, you need to have 5 producing agents in your first tier. You got to personally bring in 5 people. And to be considered a producing agent, they just need to earn $3,000 in commissions every 6 months. 5 producing agents, each one making at least $3,000 every 6 months. Now, to unlock your tier 3 benefits, you need to have 15 producing agents in your tier 1. To unlock tier 4, you got to have 20 producing agents in your tier 1. And to unlock your tier 5 benefits, you need to at least have 25 producing agents in your tier 1. Here's some other things that you should know about the RevShare program. First, there is an annual fee of $175, and there's a 1.2% processing fee as well. And the last thing that you should know is that to begin participating in revenue share, you as well need to be a producing agent. You can retire from production after 5 years, but for the first at least 5 years, you need to earn at least $3,000 in commissions every 6 months. And the reason is because we want a company of producing agents. Real estate brokerages are in the business of selling homes. So we want to keep the main thing the main thing. Revenue share is a benefit, but it is actually not a big focus of the company. In fact, 90% of agents in Real do not participate in the rev share program at all. Now, if you're a team leader or a referral agent, then you are considered a producing agent. So as I said, you have to be a producing agent to get revenue share, but there is a retirement plan. So if you've produced for at least 3 years, then you can step out of production and get 60% of your revenue share. If you produce for 4 years, then you'll get 80% of your revenue share. And if you've produced at Real for at least 5 years, you can step out of production and receive 100% of your revenue share. But honestly, what's even better is that your revenue share is actually willable. So if I were to die in a car crash tomorrow, my wife and my 3 kids will continue to be able to make ends meet, even if I'm not out there selling real estate. And that's actually really significant for me because my last brokerage did also have revenue share. It wasn't willable, which was a major issue because I understand the fragility of my life and I do not want to fail my kids if something were to happen to me. And as an aside, having a policy like this reveals some of the thoughtfulness that Real has for its agents. Willable revenue share is probably not the most profitable thing to do, but it is definitely appreciated by myself and it doesn't go noticed by those of us who are participating in the program. So whether you're 32 like me and just kind of looking for some additional stability, or you're looking to bolster your retirement income, or maybe even pass something on to your grandkids, revenue share is a great opportunity to earn additional income while you're selling real estate full-time. Let's talk about the training. Now, training is one of the most difficult things for a brokerage to get right, and I believe it's because 1, there's a ton of different things that one needs to learn to produce at a high level. 2, because there's so many different ways that you can be successful. And 3, because it takes really a lot of people to communicate those lessons well and quickly before the information is no longer relevant. Everything is changing and so is the training. So I think Real has done an incredible job at creating an incentive structure for our elite agents to motivate them to teach other agents about every topic imaginable in real time while the information is still relevant. And we're led from the front by our president, Sharon Shrivastava, who's a business mogul, a real estate agent, educator. He used to make, honestly, a ton of money educating agents and business owners, but he's now focused exclusively on training our agents and growing Real. It's hard to describe how valuable he is, but as soon as you see his content, you'll see why he's one of the first things I mention when it comes to training at Real. Now, all of our training is on our easily searchable proprietary platform called Real Academy. There are over 200 online classes and about 30 live streams and masterminds that go over some particular topic every single week. They're all recorded and are able to be replayed later as well. What's great about that is that if you're having trouble in marketing or advertising, conversions, follow-up, systematizing your business, whatever, you can find a live or recorded piece of content that's taught by somebody in the trenches today to help you with that area of your business. and everybody funnels into the same academy. We're not siloed off. So it doesn't really matter who's in your downline or your upline or whatever. Every agent has access to all the same training across the Real Academy. And this is kind of funny to think about now, but in the past, I would physically go to my brokerage to receive training from local agents who frankly had little incentive to actually help me, and who probably had in the back of their minds that everyone they were speaking to are actually competing in the same marketplace as them. And even when we had experts from out of the area come out of the state, I always felt just chained to my desk because I had to physically be there. Now, I don't know about you, but I am always in my car. So now that is the number one place where I go to listen to the training. It's on my phone and I'm on the go, and I'm taught by somebody who's incentivized to see me actually do well. And even if I sit down on my computer and I do some intense study, I can always pause that training when I got a call, or I can put it on 2x speed to get through the content faster. So long story short, you get a huge variety of training topics offered by people who are crushing it today, using today's tools in today's environment at your pace, when and where you want. But what's even cooler is that you can actually talk with anyone who's offering training and anyone else in real through our online community, which is facilitated by Workplace, which is made and looks just like Facebook, but it just has real agents in it. So you can message people, post questions, actually get answers. There's a ton of referrals being posted on there every day. It's very useful, and that's actually fun to use. And that brings us nicely to the next topic, which is technology. Now, for a little bit of insight into how my brain works, I'll just say that I've run a media and marketing company for 7 years. I spent tens of thousands of dollars on ads and software. So when my previous brokerage was hyping up KV Core, I was excited to get in there and check it out. But when I finally got access, I was so disappointed because in addition to struggling with, just more login credentials, it was just a mess. The applications were just kind of bolted onto each other. Because it was so confusing and frustrating, I honestly didn't use it at all. So it was super relieving and refreshing when I found out that Real is honestly a technology company first, and frankly, a real estate company second. And while that may sound contradictory at first, when you think about all the software that we're using on a daily basis, I promise you'll see that it's not. Let's just consider one aspect of a real estate brokerage as an example. So when you think of, say, onboarding at a traditional real estate brokerage, you probably think of the office manager and you negotiating a split, going over the paperwork, getting a welcome packet with a bunch of papers, slowly starting to transfer all of your transactions over, getting new credentials, writing them down in your password notebook, sitting down in a classroom for orientation. There's a whole lot of work on your part as an agent, and there's also a lot of coordination for the office manager as well. Now, just imagine your little traditional office trying to onboard 1,000 agents in a single day. It would be pure chaos and end in a pile of ash. Not to mention that all the office space would be needed. But anyway, our chief technology officer, Prakash Damini, said that if we brought on 1,000 agents in a day, we wouldn't even skip a beat. And that's because of technology. When you put technological systems in place, it creates efficiency, reliability, and the ability to scale. So when I was thinking about switching brokerages in the past, I was primarily looking at eXp or Compass because I wanted just the absolute best technology in the industry. I ended up going with eXp, and even though eXp's technology is good, Real's technology is what I was actually really hoping for, which is actually useful innovation that's easy to use. Keyword, easy to use. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is what you're going to use the absolute most, and that's ReZen, R-E-Zen, so like Real Estate Zen. Anyway, this is our online dashboard where you'll see all the data from your business, your transactions, commission amounts, the revenue share you've earned, your stocks, all your transaction management will be done there. And this is where you'll upload documents, where your broker will review them, and where you're going to see all your current and past contracts. And before I go into the features, there's only one login credentials, and that's amazing. And another amazing feature is that every transaction has a chat dialogue that automatically opens up between you and your broker, where you can discuss what's happening or what's missing in each and every transaction. And that chat dialogue is saved with each transaction file, so you can easily go back and reread those messages as needed. You can also manage your team with all their details, and you also get access to your wealth plan, which enables you to set financial goals by calculating projected commissions, revenue share, and stock awards to help you hit your goals. There's also the Marketing and Design Center, which is where you can design postcards, signs, business cards, and use their templates and mailing service. Now, I used to not be super impressed with the AI applications because they were still somewhat rudimentary when I tried them out, but not anymore. Now, I am constantly being blown away by what it can do to save me time. And Real has invested in a killer AI application called Leo. Not actually killer, but you know what I'm saying. You can ask Leo questions as simple as, hey, what's my license number and when does it expire? To asking, hey, how much money am I scheduled to make in the next 6 months and what's my average commission? And because Real has created all this technology itself as opposed to outsourcing to SkySlope or other softwares, Leo can actually scan through the individual business data as well as all the information from RealBroke. Another proprietary technology we have is actually Real Signature, which is very similar to DocuSign or Dotloop. You can upload your documents, add signature blocks, and then easily send them off to your clients to sign documents. And again, all this technology was created in-house by our tech team. It's not only going to create enterprise value, which boosts our stocks, but it's also incredibly simple and intuitive to use. No tutorials necessary. I'd say that the main reason like Apple is valuable as a company is because their tech is easy to use and Real has the exact same design philosophy. And that's one of the reasons for why RealBroker won the Fast Company Design Award for technology. Now, as a millennial, it's kind of funny to even say this, but I have to because my last brokerage didn't even have it. And that's that all this tech can be accessed to your laptop, but it also works beautifully on your phone, which is again, so wild to say, but truly that's where all my business is. To have everything just as easily accessible on my phone was huge, and I'm sure you're on the go as well, so I think you'd appreciate that as well. And I'll just say in general, it's kind of wild because I didn't even realize how much of an inconvenience it was to not have certain pieces of information about each transaction like automatically saved on one app. So for instance, if I didn't save the other agent's number on my phone, I have to go back to my emails to find it, or if I was using a title company that I haven't used before, or maybe they had like a pretty big team within the title company, I'd have to like look up their information too on my emails. Or if I just needed my broker's number or address because I was working out a contract, I'd have to go look that up. But now all that information about every transaction that you have, including the contact details of the cooperating agent and the title company, etc., all that's in Reason, and it's just nice to have all that in one place. It actually makes my job as an agent easier, and that is what technology is supposed to do. Another cool app that was recently launched is Real's consumer-facing app, which is One Real Mortgage, which is where they can not only get approved for a loan, but also get a roadmap of their transaction, and it'll give them updates on what to expect next. So they'll be able to see exactly where they are in the transaction whenever they want. Now, we also launched Real Title as well, which is huge because not only will your entire transaction from start to finish be viewable in your dashboard in Reason, but it'll also be a seamless process for your clients as well. Instead of them communicating with like 3 different companies, the lender, you, the agent, the title company, possibly getting their wires crossed, they're going to be able to interact with just one app to manage their own transaction. This is not only easy from the consumer's perspective, it's also much more efficient from the communications perspective for everybody involved. Speaking of communication, agents do have to communicate with each other as well. So for that, Real uses Workplace, which is made by Facebook, and that's a great place to informally ask questions, share referrals, post content, and receive updates from Real about new developments and what's happening in the real estate world. Now, at this point, you might be wondering if our CRM too is made in-house, but there are a lot of CRMs out there, and they've created some competitive moats, and probably the best one out there is Lofty, formerly known as Chime. Real has struck a partnership with Lofty because it is one of the most powerful and intuitive CRMs and website builders in the industry. The version that we have is normally about $500 a month, but we have access for only $40 a month. So big savings there. One of the most surprising features, I'd say, is their AI texting feature. So when someone opts into your website, it'll pose kind of like as your assistant and ask them questions around their time frame, price point, areas they're interested in, and things like that. So in addition to pre-qualifying leads and providing summaries of those conversations, Lofty can also automatically send like postcards to your database. It can also manage your Google ads, your Facebook ads. So if you have a team and you want to generate some local leads for them, Lofty can do that for you. Something to keep in mind as well is that they run ads for thousands of agents all across the country. So they do know what ads work, and they can just run them in your market. Now, there is a 20% fee for you to do this, but if you have, let's say, an $800 a month budget, you can have them run ads for you, generate, say, 30, 40 leads in your team that go directly into your CRM, and then your AI chat box will start texting those leads for you and then pre-qualifying them for your team members. And so Lofty is really the cornerstone of a lot of agents' businesses at Real. There's a lot of training on how to use it, and we have a very active Lofty community that you can reach out to as well. There are more features to Lofty, but those are some of the key features for now. In future videos, I'll dive into each aspect of the tech stack individually, but I hope you can get a sense for what's available on the tech side of things for now. So now I'd like to talk about some of the things I haven't experienced at other brokerages, and those are Real Benefits. So Real Benefits is essentially health insurance for you and your family. Real has leveraged thousands of agents to negotiate some good deals on robust health insurance plans. And another interesting opportunity is called joint venture, which enables you to be an investor in your state's Real title company. Why do you want to do that? When you buy shares into your state's title company, they'll pay out quarterly profits. Now, the number of shares that you can buy does depend on whether you're an individual or a team, and also on your level of production. And this is meant to incentivize you to use Real Title and can be an additional stream of income into your own business. Just like Real Mortgage, by the way, working with them is optional, but doing so is not only financially rewarding for you, but it will also provide a seamless experience from start to finish for your clients. When I first heard about this, I didn't quite understand the impact that it would make, but now that I'm on the inside, I'm really looking forward to the launch. And that is Real Wallet, which includes a debit and a credit card. So basically when you earn a commission, revenue share, stock in the company, all those assets go into your Real Wallet. You could automatically transfer it to your bank account, but if you leave it in Real Wallet, it'll be really easy to track, you'll earn interest, and if you use your debit and credit cards, you'll be able to earn points to offset the cost of being an agent at Real. Now, that's all well and good, but I think the real power is in the fact that Real Wallet will be able to assess your assets in real time. They can look into your transaction history, look out to your revenue share, look at your stocks, and be able to issue you a low-cost line of credit based on those assets that you can actually use to grow your business. Now, I may be off, but aside from commission advances, I don't think that there are any other brokerages that are extending their agents lines of credits to grow their business. The second huge impact of this development is it makes Real a fintech company, and in the eyes of Wall Street, that's a big deal. Real will be making money as a brokerage, Real Title, Real Mortgage, and as a fintech company through Real Wallet. And you might be wondering, okay, well, why am I so happy that my brokerage is profitable? Well, it's because I'm an owner through the stocks that I got. So yeah, I'm going to be excited about that. If you had your stocks increasing in value, I'm pretty sure you'd feel the same way. One thing I'll note as well is that this is very indicative of how innovative Real is. There's been some folks who have said that the Real Wallet might just be the most game-changing development in the real estate industry since the MLS. And that be the case or not. And while I can't expect brokerages to copy this model soon, one of the primary differences of being an innovator at Real versus other brokerages is that you can be an owner at what's still very much the ground floor, where your stock will have much more significant growth potential over the next 5 to 10 years. So now the last thing that I want to mention is the culture at Real. One of the problems in talking about it though is that the term culture is really amorphous. It involves different things from how agents interact with each other, what they do for each other, what they do for their clients, how they're perceived by the public, how they're led from the top, or what values they hold or goals they pursue. So culture is all those things, but when it comes to companies, I think we need to look at who the leadership is, what they do, what they hold in high esteem, and how do they incentivize and hold their agents accountable, and where are they leading the company. So with that being said, I think we should be looking at Sharon, the president, and Tamir, the CEO, and they are unbelievably consistent in what they practice and what they preach about the culture. They're positive, upbeat, and they embody our core values, which are work hard and be kind. Not going to canonize them, of course, but however great our shortcomings may be, everyone can get behind the desire for professional excellence and moral goodness, which are just my translations of work hard, be kind. I think that the pursuit of these values is evident in the experience we're providing our clients, in the tools and support we receive as agents, and the reputation that we have. And to be perfectly frank, this is not the company for everyone. We've all met discount brokers who provide little, give little, and try to cut out every last bit of profit from their vendors and cooperating agents, those are not our people. We've all met top producers who are secretive, backstabbing, they gloat behind closed doors, and whisper their gossip at the award ceremonies. Those are not our people. We're about putting in the work, being creative, focusing on building all relationships. We're dedicated to providing excellent customer service. As real estate professionals, we embrace the abundance and growth mindsets, and we hold ourselves to these standards without fear of the hard conversations. And I think that Sharon and Tamir have done a great job working at forming and protecting our culture, as well as finding a way to financially incentivize us cultivating it. So if you found this video helpful, but you'd like to find out how switching to Real might impact your business in particular, I think the next step would be for you and I to hop on a video call to talk about you, about your business, about Real, and answer your questions about being an agent here. I have a link in the description below to my calendar so you can select a date and time that works for you, and it'll automatically schedule a one-on-one video call with me. I'm Jonathan Powell, and I look forward to hearing from you.